Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Hello, this is the Italian Wine Podcast. My name is Monty, Waldin, and my guest today is Alessandro Ceretto from the Ceretto Winery in Alba in Piemonte. We're going to talk a little bit about Barbaresco and Barolo and even biodynamics. Welcome, Alessandro.
Hi.
So just give me a little bit about family history of your very famous winery.
So I'm the third generation of a family that started in the early 1900 with my grandfather Riccardo that moved from the region of Santo Stefano Belbo, that is a Moscato area, to Alba because of the depression during the two wars, trying to find, make fortune in another area. He started working for a winery. Suddenly he became a negociant, buying wine and selling wine and buying grapes and selling grapes.
So was he buying Barolo and Barbaresco at that time or not?
Yes. At that period, there was no difference between, as you can say today, between Barolo, Barbaresco, Dolcetto, Barbera d'Alba, and Nebbiolo d'Alba. So buying grapes from all the Langhe area. What made, the success of this winery, it was like the second generation. My father, Marcello, was vinifying all the single vineyards that my grandfather was buying in a different way every year and trying to buy the vineyard I was liking the most.
So give me the names of some of these single vineyards then.
The first vineyard we bought was Bricosili in Barbaresco. Then we had Brunate in middle 70s, followed by Serralunga Prapo, Briccorocche. In the years we also had the chance to buy in Cannubi. So a lot of vineyards that today they have a different price, so they are not this approachable like they was in the 70s.
So it's a very modest way of saying these vineyards are world famous, which is what they are, yeah?
Yes, we were lucky that my father and my uncle invested in an area 20 years before that this area became what is Barolo and Barbaresco today.
So when did you start working here, and did you work abroad to get a bit of knowledge and learning before you started working with the family?
Yes, I did few harvests abroad. I did Australia, South Africa, California, and France. I worked in France in Bordeaux at Chateau Margaux, Petaluma in Adelaide Hills in Australia, Joseph Phelps Vineyards in Napa Valley, and Boschendal in South Africa. After this experience, I came back. I worked and I cooperate with my father and the team here at Ceretto for 10 years. After that, I started to try to make my philosophy come true.
So when you say your philosophy, you're talking about your philosophy in the vineyards. What are you changing?
I learned a lot about techniques. I traveled around the late 90s. So in that period, it was, I think, a lot of winemaking focus. I came back. I did my mistake. Mistakes are the turning point of, improving. And I understood that the only way to have success in a terroir zone is to understand the terroir and to make all the efforts to have these differences coming through every year in this what are the single vineyards.
So what are you doing? Are you organic? Are you biodynamic?
Totally trust Rudolf Steiner. So I read his first book of Steiner around 2009 and 2010, and even if my background is scientific, and I totally understood that for me that was the best way of producing an organic wine that gives you the real difference every year through the different single vineyards.
So you're doing a bit of sort of organic and biodynamic farming, right?
Yes, okay. Today, Ceretto is 100% organic and 50% biodynamic. This is because, as you know, Piedmont has a lot of different varieties, different wines at different level of price. Of course, the biodynamic has a cost, has an impact on the production that is close to, I'm not saying zero, but really minimum when your wine is above a price that is 30-40 euro, where the impact is much stronger on a wine that is around 10 euros.
Okay, so some of the what effects have you seen with the organics? What was the main reason for it apart from for quality? What about in terms of erosion? Your vineyards are generally on steep slopes. How's that helping?
Well, a lot of techniques helped me to improve or to save more the terroir, because today rainfall are not like in the past long and slow, are really hard and fast. So we had to understand that the erosion is is one of the worst problem that we have to, fight today. We understood that laboring too much the soil was probably the first reason why the erosion was taking over. We always talk about this soil that they have 10,000, 100,000, 1 million year of age, and then we don't understand that with 1 year, 2 rains can dig 10 or 20 centimeters of your topsoil. That is what you have to, save through the years.
So what are you doing? Are you leaving more grass or wildflowers between the vineyards, between the vine rows, or what?
Yes, we understood that we have to labor less the soil, and then of course planting different varieties, it makes you to improve a biodiversity that is in the flowers, in the grass, in the microorganism, and in all environment. I really think that in the past, the option was, if you see in a vineyard only the vines, no competition, makes everything goes into the vine. But we understood that it's not true, because an habitat has to be a resume of microorganisms, of grass, of flowers, of plants. So you cannot have a vineyard and that's it on a nude soil, because that doesn't help. That helps water to evaporate faster, helps soil to be taken off by rains. Erosion. We're starting to understand that in an area, of course, you plant a lot of vineyards, but you have to understand that you have to create an habitat for something that is not just a vine.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your wines. You make a white one from the Arnis grape. Tell us a little about Arnis and why it's such a big wine for you at this winery.
Well, actually, yes. Arnis Blanchet is our main production, talking about numbers, because my father has been really smart, understanding the evolution of areas. So in time that the Barolo and Barbaresco land were achieving really high price, he decided to invest on the Roere area, sandy soil area just across the Tana River on the other side of the Barolo and Barbaresco area, investing on a wine that through almost 30 years became today a flagship of a white wine in Piedmont, even if Piedmont is not a white wine region.
Where does the name Blanchet come from?
Well, every wine has a geographic origin. When we first bought the vineyard of Blanchet, the surface was 15 hectares. We had to buy from 40 to 50 different owners, because the fragmentization of the land here is really, really high. And we knew that in the middle of the vineyard there was an owner that was the Boulanger. As you know, France had a big impact on the history of Piedmont. Boulanger became Blanchet also because Lange became a name that was a really good solution, the geographic origin.
So just for everybody, the boulanger in French is the baker, so he's called Mr. Baker.
Yeah, probably it was the baker of the town.
So what is the Arnes Blanchet? What are the typical flavors we'd find in that dry white wine?
It's a wine really fruity, really easy to drink. So flowers, peach, aromas that are primary aromas that they come from either from the variety or the fermentation. It's a wine that ages really well, but his clue is when it's like 1, 2, maximum 3 years old.
Okay, let's move over to Barbaresco. You have two very famous cru, the Azili and the... Is it Bernadotte or Bernadotte?
Bernadotte.
Okay, let's talk about Azili. What's special about Azili, the terroir there?
Azili is probably one of the historical single vineyards of Barbaresco. I can make the comparison between two. Azili is famous because it has a lot of personality. This personality comes not really every year, but when you have them coming out, gives you an expression of really masculine wine, tannic Nebbiolo that needs different years, to become smoother and probably drinkable.
Okay, and the Bernadotte?
Bernadotte is, because it's 100% south facing, gives you more fatness, more roundness, tannins that are a little bit more smooth, so it's a wine that is approachable when it's younger.
Okay, off into Barolo, you make several crus here. Bricco Rocche, what's special about Bricco Rocche?
When I talk about Barolo, I normally start from Brunate. So the wine in La Morra, between La Morra, La Brunate is a single vineyard between La Morra and Barolo. Barolo, from there, it gives you a silky tannin version, really feminine, easy to drink and more approachable when it's young, more thin, more elegant, where as you move to Bricco and then towards Serralunga, you get richness in tannin, you get more tannin, and you get also more aromatics. That gives you an expression of Barolo that probably behaves better through the time.
Do you think with what about Prapo?
Prapo is a vineyard we always harvest really late, so it has been a little bit more elevated. Gives us the option to delay and to have, everything, the compound that ripes better, and gives more time today that, delaying harvest in a period where the heat is more problematic thing that we have to deal with. It's a good thing to own, vineyard in Serralunga or high places like that.
Do you think with your change in how you manage the vineyards, your wines are getting a little bit more, I find them a little bit more salty. They've got that lovely salty, savoury character running through the middle of them. Is that a change that you've seen, or am I just imagining it?
Well, I think with this approach, the vines, they get more reactive to what are the pushes of the climate.
They're becoming more sensitive.
Yeah, I think they react better. So I can tell you that the pH are lower. A lower pH means a higher acidity than in a warm climate. Bingo for a producer. More salty, and then we are also trying to fight the ripening, the fastness of the ripening that you normally get with this really warm weather that between either July or August and September you get every year.
Alessandro Ceretto, fascinating to talk to you here about your family history, your wines, and your move to sort of organic biodynamic management. Look forward to catching up with you in the future. We can taste some wines again and chat again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Follow Italian Wine Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.